February 20th, 2024. I know my apartment's bugged. They sold it. You can hear them outside screaming. Even neighbors have complained about how loud people have been outside screaming stuff before. It used to be real bad when I first moved out. But I'll tell you what, my one friend and his mom is a sitting judge. A sitting judge. Good friend. On to me. His mom's a real judge. A real sitting judge. These people should have got a lot of trouble for this. He even told me before Dave couldn't hire Pete on his own, or Alex, or whoever. You take naked pictures of somebody without their permission, get in a lot of trouble for that. A lot of trouble. Let alone drugging somebody, beating, raping them. He also, yeah, they can't do any of this. I told him I talked to a criminal attorney. Dave didn't have a right to hire Pete on his own, or Alex, or anybody. He said he knew that. He also, I told him I talked to the police. Prosecutor's office had no right in my home. See, that's where I talked to a criminal attorney. Dave can't hire Pete on his own. He can't hire anybody on his own. Nobody could be in my home but protected like cases with statements, police, prosecutor's office, and a criminal attorney. And now a guy that his mommy's a judge. A real judge. And I told him how he was impersonating a retired Judge B. He's like, he's going to get a lot of trouble for that one. See, in Walmart Alliance on Sunday, some guy was down by the veggie aisle, was screaming, "No, she don't know who I am." Had his back to me. Other people were walking around talking on the phones to him. They're all three talking together. People are tired of her ex-husband scamming her. One lady. Another one said the harassers didn't show up today. We want to find out what the problem is. Okay? And then he's at the end. These people already confessed they photoshopped everything before. No, she don't know who I am. They made fun of them for falling for it. They said not to say a word to her. I want the man that did this. You hear me? You find him! He's screaming at Walmart. Okay? Told you. In Marks, before that, some guy walked by and said the people that came down to investigate this said it wasn't funny that anybody made fun of her for what she does for even when with what she does for a living. We've watched her with these people. And what she does and how she takes care of them. Watched her with that lady. Nobody should ever make fun of her. What she even does for a living. I take care of the elderly, the handicapped, and the crippled, and the dying. While these people are acting like jackasses, I take care of the most neediest U.S. citizens there is. While they're acting like jackasses, yelling stuff across stores, and I have to ignore it. Because they're a bunch of crackheads. Thinking it's funny, they're scamming people. And pulling scams. See, I know a former CIA agent. She said, it's ridiculous they didn't get arrested the first day. And that agent take care of you. She's like, I hate FBI agents. They'll sit on cases and wait to find out who pops up. They'll let people get away with horrible crimes just to see who else is involved. And they should have took care of you and arrested them the first day. In Walmart, some lady walked by. I told these people, nobody should say a word where she uploaded, where I put it on Facebook. What these people did is voyeurism. You take pictures, naked pictures of somebody without their permission. It's 1 to 5 years per person. Without the drugs, the kidnapping, the rape. The kiddie porn of little kids going potty. There's no damn excuse. No damn excuse. And then the photoshopping and washing to make you look weird. And they already confessed that. An effeminate white bee above the toilet in January of 19. May 12th, 22, and May 26th, 22. They both confessed that it was a shower scene in the other room to make me look weird and to make it look weird on purpose. My phone's bugged and everything's been recorded, and my car's bugged, and I recorded it. They admitted to a shower scene in the other room to make me look weird. They admitted they photoshopped everything. March 24th, 22, 1:30, they admitted to framing me. And then I got a whole list of drugs and told to say it, and photoshopping and washing, and a feminine white bee by the toilet, and they photoshopped everything. And a sextortion scheme done by the drug cartel. A stripper and her brother. It was Alex. The white-haired guy with his hair parted on the side with just a Santa Claus wig and beard. Because you got to think the real retired Judge Pete, where I asked Cecily Mullins, an attorney up there, well, who's that judge that looks like a little white Santa Claus, Pete or something? She's like, I don't know. Said if his picture's on the wall, he's been retired a long time. Well, he looks 60, 65. Put another 10, 15 years on him, he's 75, 80. He wouldn't have an 18-year-old daughter. He'd have an 18-year-old granddaughter or great-granddaughter. See, that's where when he walked by, joking outside my room, 9/18/19, Judge Timothy Ludick seen him. In a robe joking around. They said they talked to Ludick and he didn't know what they were doing. He's just laughing at them for them being silly. Found out they were getting back of places, telling people they were there to protect me. And here's that stripper's brother impersonating that judge. He's seen him in a robe. Didn't realize what he was doing. Go to jail like my boss and other even people said. Everybody said. I went to attorneys. I have went to criminal attorneys. I went to prosecutors. I went to the police. You can't do any of this. And then my friend that has a mom that's a judge. You can't. And impersonating a judge, you get a lot of trouble for that. See, like they said last week in Walmart, some guy was on the phone. Was talking about them photoshopping everything. Was talking about they wanted a credible witness. Even a judge seen him dressed up as that other judge and didn't realize he was impersonating him. And didn't know what he was doing, was just laughing at him. See, this is where I went down and talked to the Tuscarora sheriffs. I've talked to the Louisville police. Nobody had a right in my home before. Nobody. And I've talked to other police departments. Nobody had a right in my home. Portage County Sheriff's for Ravenna Police. Nobody had a right in my home. I've talked to the prosecutor's office in Stark County. Somebody from there. Nobody had a right in my home. It's a fraud scheme. It's a Sextortion Act, actually. Trying to extort money by photoshopping, washing. But, yeah, nobody had a right. And they don't have the right to drug you up and tell you, say something, beat and rape you, and leave you so drugged up you don't know what happened to you. They didn't have a right to Photoshop scenes and then sell my family on porn sites and violate us all. There's no damn excuse they didn't get arrested. See, that's where that guy screaming he wants the man that did this. They made fun of him for falling for it. Somebody had already told me that Will and John, FBI agent Will and John, didn't fall for it. They were laughing at it because they realized it was Photoshopped and it was a cheap act. Because if they actually thought I was like that, they would have arrested me. And they laughed at me how I didn't know. Because it was a big, mean joke. and as if they didn't know doctors can't sell information. And it was a guy impersonating him. That elaborate, dramatic scheme of them walking in of a circus show, of somebody impersonating a judge's daughter, with a sextortion act, drug confessions, and willing to tell on themselves, and somebody impersonating a doctor selling information, and he's tried to talk, any doctor talking about you is 10 years in prison and $250,000 fine. They can never talk about you. Impersonating a doctor is 1 to 10. And then impersonating a judge is 1 to 3. And you can't touch things with conflict of interest, and retired judges have no authority. Want to play? Their scheme was so stupid. It was unbelievable. But they were really harming me and violating me and my family. They got a lot of drug dealers off this. That one guy I put up on my Facebook, he was part of the M13 drug cartel. He was one of my harassers. Him and his girlfriend or wife. I seen them several times and they show up and harass me. People in Louisville seen them too. Gas station and other places. Okay. Up in Hartville, this one cashier, when I told him I thought that's who was doing it, this second drug cartel, from, besides the one from Texas, he said that was some Russian that was doing it and they were working with him. See, there's so many people that have got hurt, killed, taken in Ohio. Over 1,000 people last year. Over 1,000 people were sold and murdered. While these people run around acting like jackasses and morons, these people are serial killing. Like they said, August 30th, 23, in Fred Martin, my ex-husband is part of a serial killing group. See, that's where even the Tuscarora sheriff said, if you tell somebody not to believe somebody, not to help them, you go to jail for it. It's aiding and abetting crimes. It's badgering. I went out to eat with an officer. He said the same thing. I talked to a dispatcher in Canton because one of the neighbors, I think that what they said was the neighbors was just being mean. That even the Louisville cops were saying that. I called the dispatcher. I said, is there a problem? Because there's a real case. And I told her all the information, all the people that got hurt, and then different police departments working it, and that how I talked to the FBI and da-da-da-da. She's like, whoa, for one thing, you got the other departments working it. You got all your witnesses. You got all your evidence. She said, I'll tell you what. She said, you stand on what you got. And she said, that will always back you. She said, your neighbor was just bashing the police. If any Louisville police officer or any officer ever told anybody not to believe you, there'll be a lot of trouble for that officer. It's an accessory to those crimes. You know that, right? It's badgering. Badgering is obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, tampering with witnesses. When I went out to eat with that one officer, he told me you can get charged financially and physically with a person crime as an accessory. I talked to other sheriffs out of this area, several of them, 2 or 3 of them actually, and they said the same thing. They go to jail for it. They get arrested for aiding and abetting the crimes. An accessory, they can't run around badmouthing you. That's where that Canton, she said, I'm actually from Canton. She said, anybody saying that would go to jail for it. Well, not jail for it, she said, but there'd be a lot of trouble for that officer. And a horrible amount. That person was bashing the police. Police don't go around telling people not to believe them, not to help them. And if they do, there's a lot of trouble for that officer. And they get in a lot of trouble. And they don't go around insulting people. Your neighbor was probably just bashing the police and just being mean. See, that's where the Tuscarora sheriff said. You can never tell anybody not to believe somebody, not to help them. You go to jail for it. That's where I talked to Sheriff Joe, Sheriff David, another Sheriff David, and I went out to eat with an officer, and they all said the same thing. I looked it up. It's on the Department of Justice. They lose their badge and go to jail right away. obstruction, and accessory. These people have killed people. There's no excuse they weren't arrested. You know, it makes me mad. Up on the Portage County Sheriff thing, some guy beat on his wife. He went to jail for a long time, charged with all kinds of crimes. They beat me in protective custody. He human trafficked me. He let them try to kill me. He was part of at least 2 murders up there, caught on police surveillance. Christmas of 18. Like they said, they let that ass get away with murder up there. For you went to the wrong house. We know. Within a day or two of Christmas 18 in protective custody, they got him. They shut up the apartment building. Next to mine, I had to hide with lasers going on in my house, and they're shooting up the neighbor. I had to hide not to get killed. I had to hide not to get killed. I reported it. Did they do anything about it? No. They gutted the place and cleaned it up. Burned it in the middle of the night. And they seen him do it. They had him. Had him for human trafficking, sextortion, drugs, kidnapping, rape, kiddie porn. The ass is still walking around free. You know, I think he thinks everybody is so stupid that they would fall for his sextortion scheme and get out of paying me alimony. Pull another scam. His thing is God can't even stop him no matter what he does. That's his opinion. I taped him saying it. He doesn't even think God can stop him. The police aren't that stupid. Where if any officer, you ever catch them saying, don't believe, don't help, turn them in. The cartels paid off a lot of people. They paid off a sheriff over $100,000 and a whole list of them. A whole list of people being paid off in Ohio. They're aiding and abetting crimes. And anybody back in a sextortion act of photoshopping of washing and drug confessions and violating people, they're dirty. They were to arrest them. Let alone selling kiddie porn of little kids going potty. That's disgusting. These people are vile, sick animals. People were complaining a week ago in Target in Belden. We all know she's a human trafficking victim. They were scamming. Nobody finds any of this funny. You know who it is? Go on the CIA contact. They'd be very interested. They'll never contact you. My brother-in-law was CIA. Before he died. They'll never contact you. They have people. And they'll look just like you and me. That person will just disappear into a nice funky little jail. I'm going to upload this. But yeah. Like I said, I even have a friend. His mom is a sitting judge. He's quite fond of me. Thinks very highly of me. They couldn't do any of this. Dave can't hire Pete on his own. Criminal attorney, prosecutor's office, police departments, or Alex or anybody else where he bragged he hired Pete on his own to do it to me. They're not admissible. He was to be arrested. Those agents laughing at me on a recorder line, somebody said they already knew it was photoshopped. Everything was. That's why they were laughing. See, that guy said they made fun of him for falling for it. I want the man that did it. They did make fun of the feds. June 7th, 23. FBI agent John fell for the stunt I taped before. Oh, come on now, it was only a stunt. You're kidding. John actually fell for it? The FBI agent fell for a stunt I taped before. You're kidding, it was only a stunt. Is that what's going on? Ha 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 ha. Screaming his name out. Walmart 62. They sold videos of him making fun of the feds. It's like SWAT teams, right? And nothing. This has been our nation's disgrace of our legal system. People like this, like the CIA agent said, she hates it when FBI sits on cases and let people get away with crime and see who pops up. Oh, a fentanyl king. From Texas. A fentanyl king. for we all work for the king from Texas. We are his men. Dave hired us. He's a drug lord. They talked about him here in Louisville. That's the one that drug lord takes care of. Oh, he was one of the biggest ones in the United States, honey. And he was selling the Ohio children and women. Like 1,000 of them. Him and that Russian fighting over this area drug cartel. The Florida plates. I'll tell you what, I see a Florida plate on the highway, I quench. Georgia, Texas. Because they all break. They were selling people and people disappeared. They didn't think they were stoppable. Well, last year about this time, sheriffs and marshals started blowing the hell out of them. Like one sheriff showed up with an earbud, works on my case. They'll learn to stay away from her. My one client we were talking about, I said, you see the guy with the earbuds come in and sit down and dress her? She's like, yeah, I seen him. FBI informant. People so little forget. I'm going to upload this. See, I don't let people bash the police. There's quite a few that are dirty. It did take payoffs, but it doesn't mean everybody's bad. But if you find anybody bad-mouthing anybody, telling anybody not to believe them or help them, go on the CIA, the DOJ. That officer lost his badge and is facing jail time. They can't aid and abet crimes. And they can't go along with perverts breaking in people's homes, doing voyeurism, and then sextortion schemes, and let alone rape and human trafficking scams. That's aiding and abetting those heinous crimes. Dave was to be arrested. Yeah, that guy up there getting arrested for beating on his wife. I reported Dave for beating me with internal injuries. I got a video in my phone of him saying it. There's a video in a protected custody case of him beating me for not answering my phone. Is he in jail? I reported it. Did he go to jail? No. I reported it even to my doctor. Had all the doctors proof. Did he go to jail? No. That's why he doesn't think God can stop him. He's insane. Is that what he's going to complain? I'll tell you what, I think he thinks that everybody is so stupid. He can even get out of my alimony by thinking he can get me in trouble by his sextortion scheme. That agent really played him. He told on me before he called me back. He acted like he was going along with all this crazy crap. And if he actually is going along with all this crazy crap, he's dirty as hell and dangerous. But if he's playing him to get the drug dealers, he still owes me my money. And like the criminal attorney said, he can't withhold it. It's him embezzling them and him stealing. And he's dirty like they are. Then God help us when the higher law enforcement are that dirty. This nation's disgrace of our legal system.